I don't know what they expect people to do. My car insurance in the last 2 years went from $220 to $270, now to $320. Am I alone in this? I'm paying nearly $900 a month for a Nissan Rogue Sport.
So yesterday I was going through my mail and I noticed I had something from my insurance company. I opened up the mail and it says that all policies are increasing 20%. Sorry for the inconvenience. Haven't been in any accidents, no tickets recently, nothing like that.
It has recently come to my attention that there is an extremely large portion of the population that's under the impression that car insurance is a scam.
The fact that car insurance is so expensive anyways, like, what do you mean you're charging me $400 a month for a what if? For a hypothetical? You must be out your goddamn... I don't get it. Health insurance is a whole nother thing, but the car insurance shit I don't get.
It's no secret that car insurance is getting more expensive year after year, with more and more Americans deciding to opt out completely, with many calling it a scam, while others say the business model is a necessity. Today, we'll look at a few examples of what people are saying on the matter.
The fact that car insurance is so expensive anyways, like, what do you mean you're charging me $400 a month for a what if? For a hypothetical? You must be out your goddamn... I don't get it. Health insurance is a whole nother thing, but the car insurance shit I don't get.
Car insurance is crazy, and it's going to continue to get even more crazy. But if you have no car insurance and you total someone's car and you injure the other person, you could literally have $300,000 or $400,000 that you could be owing and having to pay back for the rest of your life over paying the $300 or $400, even though none of us want to pay the $300 or $400, but you have to understand what you're getting and why you're doing it. And the alternative, the $400 is a better option.
Okay, so right here we have an argument for car insurance. And I totally get the woman's frustrations that nobody wants to pay $400 a month for a what if. However, the distinguished gentleman makes a very good point. If you don't pay the monthly amount for car insurance, the alternative is essentially that you are liable for anything that happens on the road, and accidents happen every day. In fact, studies show that over 16,000 accidents happen per day in the United States, with a whopping 106 to 118 fatalities every day. So just think about what would happen if you're on the road, an accident occurs, and you're not insured. Now, we can all agree insurance premiums have had an acute increase, putting many Americans in a precarious financial situation.
It has recently come to my attention that there is an extremely large portion of the population that's under the impression that car insurance is a scam. This isn't a discussion of healthcare, for instance, I assure you, because when my dad passed away, they charged me almost $8 million, and insurance was kind enough to still bill me $500,000. That's a post for another time. We're not talking about that. I saw this argument on Twitter, and I'll go ahead and include the screenshots here so you can see the dialogue. This specifically is the thing that I am referring to. The argument here is that if a person pays for insurance and they do not use it, they should then be refunded all of the premiums that they paid for that insurance. Where would that money then come from to pay out when people actually get in accidents? That's not a problem. They're a company. They can figure it out. I teach a class in rhetoric, and right now we're discussing the idea of sound arguments. This just might be our new object of study. What I think is really interesting is that then an argument's brought up about the idea that if I'm paying insurance, then perhaps that insurance should pay for things like oil changes and car maintenance. That's really neat in theory, but aren't those things sort of inevitable, and then wouldn't the premiums be insanely high to cover those costs that are absolutely always going to happen? It seems like car insurance is for the sudden and unexpected things, and that's why you pay the money for it, because you can't forecast it and the damage done is ultimately highly costly. I'm not saying that car insurance should be a for-profit entity. If anything, that's probably the problem we should be discussing. But the idea that the business model as it is should just give you a refund, therefore just take a massive loss all of the time, is one of the most insane, unbased things I've ever heard in my life.
What drugs is he on? Alright, well, drugged up white Steve Urkel made a few good points. The problem with getting reimbursed the money that you paid into the system when you don't get into an accident is that presumably that's going to be the money that companies use to pay out for people who do get into accidents. Now, don't get me wrong, I am not siding with insurance companies. I think a lot of insurance companies operate very shady. And I am by no means coming on here to run cover for insurance companies. That's the last thing I care to do. However, it's a necessary evil, but it desperately needs reform. Now, granted, I already know that some of the things I say in this video aren't going to be the most popular. This guy is getting completely roasted in his comment section. One of the things I think car insurance companies need to start doing is charging less and covering more. It is no secret that car insurance companies make an exuberant amount of money. And I think all too often we find that these car insurance companies are doing everything they can to avoid paying out. One of the things that I think is completely ridiculous when it comes to these car insurance companies is that they require us to pay a copay. Why the hell are we paying a copay if we pay you every single month to have coverage? What the hell was the money I was paying into the system for anyway then? The fact that these car insurance companies charge people thousands of dollars every single year, and then when an accident happens, they require you to pay a copay, which means let's cover the cost of the damages together, is ridiculous. We're already covering the cost of the damages together. I've been paying my copay every single month. That's the copay. The copay is the monthly amount that I'm paying you. That is the copay. The crazy thing about this business model is that in theory, it's a necessary evil and it makes a lot of sense, because imagine a bunch of people running around driving and no one has insurance and someone hits another person and they just are expected to come out of pocket for damages, injuries, medical expenses. It would never work like that. It would be a free-for-all out on the road and it would be chaos and pandemonium. However, the fact that copays exist is a clear-cut, precise example of the fact that these car insurance companies do price gouge. So, is car insurance necessary? Yes. In my opinion, yes. But does it need to be reformed? Yes, completely. Copays should be abolished. The amount that we pay every single month should be lowered. And car insurance companies shouldn't fight tooth and nail to do everything they can not to pay out should an accident happen.
So yesterday I was going through my mail and I noticed I had something from my insurance company. And to me, this is weird because I have everything set on auto pay, so there's no actual reason why I should be getting mail. Anyways, I opened up the mail and it says that all policies are increasing 20%. Sorry for the inconvenience. The crazy thing about it, good thing I checked my mail, because what if I was to check my bill and all of a sudden the price just jumped and I had no idea what happened? Haven't been in any accidents, no tickets recently, nothing like that. So with that being said, it's probably time to start shopping around. If you guys haven't went through the process of shopping your insurance yet, use this as a sign.
So this is one of the things that I'm talking about. Essentially, all car companies collude together. They all decide to raise their insurance premiums so that we can't necessarily just shop around and hop from company to company, right? If State Farm is raising their insurance premiums, you best believe so is Progressive. This keeps the American populace in a chokehold and forces us to pay whatever premiums that they force upon us. So while it makes sense that he says it's time to shop around for other rates, the likelihood of him finding any sort of true success and finding a genuinely cheaper rate that offers all the same coverage that he has with his current insurance provider is slim to none. However, it's worth a try. I mean, it never hurts. Top comment says, good business move on their end. Raise it 20% and lose 100% of my business. Great strategy. Well, I promise, username D, you have not outsmarted these car insurance companies. These multi-billion-dollar corporations know a little bit more than you do, random TikTok user. They understand that if they raise their insurance premiums, they might alienate a portion of their clientele. However, for every one person that jumps ship from Allstate because they raise their insurance premiums 20%, there is another person that's jumping from Progressive for the same reason. Meaning you just have a crisscross of clients that are looking to find the cheapest rate, but end up pretty much in the exact same situation every single time. Another comment says, mine keeps raising too. I was at 276, then I was paying 318, now I'm paying 356. My car is a 2011 too, like how? It's pretty crazy because they do tell you it's much cheaper to insure older vehicles, but in my experience, I have found that the amount you pay to insure these older vehicles doesn't really save you that much money compared to new cars for some reason, with the exception of the complete hoopty that is extremely old. But for the most part, if you're just driving a regular decent car that's like 10 years old, 15 years old, you're still gonna pay a lot for insurance. All right, let's go ahead and transition into the irrelevant video of the day. Now, we all know many young people want to escape their wretched hometowns to chase their dreams in the city. New scenery, more opportunity, and overall more higher level people that are actually chasing their dreams instead of just accepting mediocrity. However, we all know when we tell our parents or our grandparents we're moving to the city, 9 times out of 10, we hear this.
But there's homeless people in the city. Have you seen the crime rates? There's way more murders in the city. What's next? Are you gonna start taking the bus too? You gonna make me go all that way just to see you? Oh, they got you with the propaganda, that 15-minute city stuff. What you mean you wanna walk places? Don't you got a car? You're gonna rent an apartment? With all this cheap land out in Macon, Georgia, that's where them drug addicts are. You gonna be one of them drug addicts homeless on the street. You should live out here in Timbuktu. You can just commute to your job. I've driven 2 hours to work my whole life. I don't see a problem with it. I wouldn't live in that city anymore. Back in my day, it was way better than it is now. See, your generation, man, y'all just want... Don't you know there's colored people in the city? There's no community in the city. Don't nobody care about their neighbor. You're making a big mistake, trust me.
Don't you know there's colored people in the city? It's crazy. We face a lot of negativity when we chase our dreams, but truly you're the only one that's ever gonna make that young version of yourself proud. Nobody else can do it for you. A lot of people are gonna try to dissuade you. Do not listen. Take chances. Fail again, and fail again. Because when you're young and you don't have the weight of the world on your shoulders quite yet, with a mortgage and children and all these other responsibilities, this is the time to take risk and go chase that dream. Set goals, short-term, mid-term, and long-term. Don't sell yourself short, and never let the most irrelevant thing in the world dissuade you, and that is the opinion of others. Nothing matters less than the opinions of others.
I don't get this whole car insurance shit, because I'm spending money every month for car insurance. But what if I never fuck my car up? Like, fuck y'all doing with all that money? Give me that shit back.
That video is great. Let's look at a few of the comments. Paying for a what-if situation. A whole year accident-free should grant you a refund. America, a scam. Insurance should not be mandatory. I feel like car maintenance should be covered by insurance as well. You know what? I think he's onto something there. He might be onto the wrong idea, but he's onto something there. I think in practice that wouldn't really work. I think that would probably lead car insurance companies to go bankrupt. But in theory, that does sound nice.
I don't know what they expect people to do. My credit score's 800. I'll be 25 in 2 fucking weeks. Yet my car insurance in the last 2 years went from 220 to 270, now to 320. I give them a call. They said, sir, there's nothing we can do. We're getting calls. Our phones are off the hook because people all over the place, apparently, their insurance went up too. Am I alone in this shit? But not for nothing. I'm paying nearly $900 a month for a Nissan Rogue Sport. Do you not? I'm paying $1,000 a month to not look masculine at all.
That's a real New Yorker right there. Bro, to be honest, you should have to pay that much to drive a Nissan Rogue Sport because, come on, bro. You should be punished as a man for driving a Nissan Rogue Sport. But I'm an equal opportunity smoke giver. I think the women should be punished for driving this car too. 1, because it looks like complete crap, and 2, because it's unreliable. And the men, because you look like a woman driving a piece of crap car that's unreliable. But in all seriousness, guys, it doesn't take an astrophysicist to determine the overall sentiment when it comes to car insurance companies in the United States. Americans just have the natural proclivity to not want to be subjected to any sort of monthly premium, whether it be taxes, health, or car insurance. And I can't really blame them. I'm the same way. And whilst it's a necessary evil, it's a necessary evil that definitely needs to be heavily reformed. That's gonna do it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Just remember, have car insurance. It's important. I know it sucks, but have car insurance. Getting pulled over without car insurance is gonna get you a huge ticket. If the unfortunate situation where you get into an accident were to occur and you're uninsured, you're SOL. Remember, guys, the best time to invest was yesterday. The second best time is today. Doing this for a long enough period of time will put you in a position to where you're not even worried about car insurance or any bill. The time is always right to do what is right. Peace out.